to this tomorrow.
White, it still has an X.
It was a blessing. Really? Yeah.
Okay.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can we open the floor for old business, for comments from the floor on old business?
Well, yes. Oh, no. Dave, the only thing I want to do is contradict you. I didn't want to do it in front of all the people last week. But on March 11th, before the meeting, you guys went into executive session to discuss professional services, nothing to do with that resolution that was supposed to come forward. If you discussed that resolution, it still needed to come out and be nominated for the floor and voted on. And that's why I figured that Mr. Walters had influenced the board.
Yeah, he didn't, so.
But do not discuss something if you don't go into it. You know, you're all about being transparent on this, and that's not being transparent. And not scolding the board or anything, but I think you guys are having far too many executive meetings. There's too much going on with the board that is behind closed doors that I feel it could be out in the public. And I understand you can't talk about personnel and that, but there's a lot of things that you can discuss. Me and John, as I think I stated at the last meeting, could probably count on one hand, and most of it was union contracts and executive sessions that we had. So that is my only comment on that.
The only thing I will say to you is if we're in executive session, it's by our attorney's advice. So we are working with the attorneys. And so for instance, we have one tonight and John Langley is on the phone with us for the.
Right, and I get that.
So we're not doing it just, I don't know what that's doing, but we're not doing it for, I think, we're working very hard to make sure we're staying within the realms of the discussion for the executive session.
And
There's a lot going on. So
Legally,
legally.
yeah.
well, and I don't want to add to that. And I mean, right now, I foresee that I won't get restitution if you voted on that until sometime in July now. Bringing up the question, did you close closed
We
the
did close
public
the public hearing.
comments
Hearing.
on indemnifying and
Pardon me?
Sorry.
you didn't want to
Some
continue
noise.
that? You didn't want to continue that to this next meeting coming up, or are you going to have to reopen it?
We have to reopen another public meeting.
So
hearing.
Are you changing?
Yes,
Are you changing the
there are some
contract?
changes to the contract, or to the,
Okay.
To local law,
18.
yeah.
Okay, is it going to be changed, might I ask, is it going to be changes to past employees, or is it just wording?
I think it's just wording, but it will be posted tomorrow or tonight after we meet with John.
Our hope is to introduce that local law set the public hearing for the June meeting.
Okay. All right, and in answer to Ginger's question about being very precise, my lawyer, Ginger, has got a precise timeline on all the charges. And the board will have those as soon as they sit there and they introduce that, and they're willing to sit there and take care of my legal defense. So, which is the Article 78 for Glue Island. And I don't know if you know that or not, so.
Glue Island, I think.
Well, not Glue, but Hubby Island, I'm sorry.
So thanks for that, Ed.
Thanks, Ed.
Mr. Walters did not influence our decision at all.
Yeah, well, Mr. Walters was completely out of line.
Yeah, we didn't say a word,
With his
right?
comments
Yeah.
that night.
We did not comment on it. We didn't comment to Mr. Walters and we didn't take it into consideration when we were making our decision.
Okay, so just to clarify one more thing then, at the next meeting, you're going to go and decide on the indemnity law, right?
We're hoping to have a public, yes, we're about to have a public hearing to discuss and move on the local law 18.
Okay.
So we're going to publish it as soon as we can.
Yeah.
Because
hopefully
it
this
will be
week.
6 months, and again, like I said, it's going to be 7 months. You're creating a financial burden on me, and it's unnecessary. Because you could have did the resolution, as I explained.
Okay. I'm not going to.
You don't have to argue with it.
I could, but I'm not going to.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm not going to.
Yeah.
But we are working on it and we have diligently been working on it since the beginning of the year.
Yeah, and the intent is it applies to everybody equally. That's why,
And it does have to apply
Yeah,
to everybody.
yeah,
You can't
and that's what our goal is.
do
yeah.
it any differently.
Yeah.
Okay, that's all I
Is that
have to
it?
say. You guys can
Thanks, Ed.
go back about your own business.
Thank you.
You have a nice evening.
Thanks. Any other comments from the floor on old business?
I do. Before Ed leaves, I think we wouldn't be in this predicament if you were to follow the attorney's advice and not go against it. And number two.
Could you please clarify that?
She's talking about discovery.
Discovery.
Yeah, so discovery is what? Establishment of common facts between the both parties, right?
Right.
Yeah, but it's a.
So why would you not do that?
It's a defense factor for the towns. It's a safety net. And both lawyers, from what my understanding, advise the board not to do discovery because it would take down the safety net.
Yes.
So discovery is the establishment of common facts, so both parties have the same facts.
But but the town's attorneys said you didn't need to do it.
We want to
Well, so
establish a
hold-
common set of facts, because we have, it's people in our own town suing our town, right? So we want to establish a common set of facts and move forward. That was the
I think
reason.
the question is why would you go against?
Your town attorney.
Hold on a second. Carol, how do you know what the attorney's advice was? That was given to us in executive.
Because you can
Sasha.
go on eCourts and you can look at all the paperwork that was,
And and you're saying that our legal strategy is on,
oh, you can see the stuff, you can see where there was email sent by Mr. Walter that was CC'd to the board which he's the attorney against that he should have never sent, showing, and, yeah. they were not
There's a lot
equal.
more information online than
Yeah.
what we all,
Oh, no, I'm very familiar with it, but what I know is not online is privileged legal information from our attorney.
No, it shows it.
No, it doesn't.
Well,
You
anyway,
go to e-courts, you go
Take a look.
to something
It doesn't,
Supreme,
but-
let's take a look.
put in
Yeah.
Macuso,
Okay,
you can find Town of Henderson and everything that had to be filed.
absolutely, I agree. And there's thousands of pages
There's
of public
thousands of
record,
papers.
but not legal advice.
Mm.
I can't answer that.
I can't.
No, I understand that, but the whole, way, you know, I mean, otherwise, our quote unquote adversaries, right? And that's the opposition, the people that are petitioning for these actions, would understand our legal, strategy. That's why that is allowed to happen in executive session.
Right.
So I don't want to debate
Right.
thousands
Yeah.
of pages of legal documents at
And the
this
other,
point, but
and there's only one other thing, is last Thursday, and Dave was there, I went to the Sixth Town Chamber, where there was quite a few people from Henderson that was honored. Matt and Michelle Mitchell, they're from Henderson. Mary
Hoffman,
Hoffman
Yeah.
from the Henderson Sports. Jerry Tapley was the Citizen of the Year, and Dave's daughter got a scholarship.
congratulations, that's great.
Dave was there as a parent, but I didn't see one board member there.
Yeah, I didn't know what was happening, to be honest with you.
So I just,
That was, did they advertise that, or is it invitation only? Is that?
Yeah,
There was-
and in the past, when I was on the board or whatever, it just took a phone call to show interest, especially if something was going
it put,
on.
Henderson, Dave, I
Yeah.
think it was fantastic.
we actually had almost all the awards, right?
There was
Yeah,
30 people for
disproportionate, yeah.
embellished catering there.
Yeah.
Jerry Tapley, he got this big, beautiful award. And then, a fellow Henderson student, and it happened to be Ella from Henderson, so I think it's a big deal for us, so. All right, that's all I have to say.
Thank you, guys.
All right, thanks.
So you're gonna have to keep putting up with this, but I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Can I have a motion to go to executive session?
Well, does
Oh,
anybody
anybody
else?
else? Oh, Ginger did. Sorry, Ginger.
Yes, I keep after you about executive session, that it's gotta be for personnel, legal, whatnot. And I've said this right along, I really think it'd be helpful if you put down the time you go into executive session and the time you come out.
Okay.
I think it would just be helpful. And to be sure to state the exact reason you're going in. So I think you are being transparent about that. Just a comment I had about the surveys that Thomas was speaking about with Dank. He said that out of 402 connections, 194 responses. I find it interesting that each option was a round number. Option 1 was exactly 50. Option 2 was exactly 125. Option 3 was exactly 10. That adds up to 185. He said there was 194 responses, so that's 185. Were 9 blank?
No, 9 were comments, they didn't check a box.
He had said that.
Yeah.
He did say that at the meeting. He had comments.
Okay. The other thing is tonight, will you be voting on the bridge, the resolution to start the work of the rehab or the culvert for the town Game Club Road? So I know that to get funding, I just want to make sure, because in the past, remember, there was an engineer that came up and looked at it, and there were a lot of discussions about it, that it's technically not a bridge, it's a culvert. And just so that when you pass the resolution to do that, that you say culvert, so to make sure we're eligible for funding possibly in the future. Because something about, I was looking through my notes and whatnot, that not big enough to be a bridge, to be eligible for federal funding or something. There's some technicality there, and just to be sure so that in the future, if you can get funding for it, it's classified under the right culvert or whatever. And something about signing a CIN number, once it is fixed, it can get the number and then funding can,
Correct.
so you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
I don't know if I'm saying it.
No, it's a good point. We should.
Well,
It's a culvert identification number,
There
as
you
opposed to a
go.
BIN, which is a bridge identification number.
Right, so I just wanna make sure, so if we can get money in the future, it's classified right.
Correct. Thank you.
That's all.
Appreciate that.
Thank you.
Just one quick question. Were the surveys mailed out to all residents of Henderson
Everyone in the sewer project,
in just the
in the
Sewer
district,
district.
they are the only ones that really,
Because the survey is online,
correct.
but it was only mailed to that district.
And they were, you were supposed to put your parcel ID number on there, so they verified that, you know, it was a district
Okay,
member that responded.
because that question came up over on our drive, because nobody had
I was gonna say, someone came to me and said they didn't get one. I told them to contact the town.
one. Right.
Yeah, but if they're not in the district, they wouldn't have
They're
got
in
it.
the district.
Oh, they are?
Well, they went to mail, I mean, they went to their
No, I know,
tax
that's why I
address.
said, I go, if you didn't get it, they should contact the town.
They should get their taxes, right? And that's the address I went to.
That's. That was my advice.
Yeah.
I'm sure the town, there might be something wrong.
Yeah.
The other people just think it's junk and throw it away, and then they say that they didn't get it.
Any other comments?
No, and again, if the attorneys, if you can let, I know you've said in the past that they will not let you disclose any information, but any information, even a morsel, would be helpful.
Like, do we have a right to know, like, we're, as taxpayers, how much this lawsuit is costing us? Because eventually, I mean, where are you gonna get the money?
Yeah, that is absolutely public information and it's posted. I don't have a running total at this point, but
Where
it's in
is it
a,
posted?
would
it's
be
in our
your
abstract.
It's in the abstract,
You
your
can look-
monthly bills,
You can look at the legal.
how much we
bills
pay to
that
the attorney.
That we pay, yeah.
It's under, that's the firm, yeah, it'd be under John Langley's firm.
Under what?
John Langley's firm.
Costello, Cooney and
Costello,
Fearon is
Cooney
the,
and
is the
Fearon.
legal. So if you see bills associated with that, you know, payments associated with that,
Oh,
that's,
okay,
that's,
all right,
that's specifically for that project.
all right.
So you certainly, absolutely, we're,
Well, can we, like, can you let us know what the progress of the lawsuits are? I mean, just like, is it just in discovery right now, where they're just going back and forth?
It's exactly where it is, and there isn't any more than that we know even.
Right.
Yeah.
It's,
That could go back and forth for like 10 years, and then McCluskey will get tired of it on his dock, and he'll say, come to my court and settle, and that'll be the end of it.
well,
We're there.
For what it's worth, I mean, and Ed and Carol, both brought up good points. I mean, there's a tremendous amount of documentation
Yeah, I
available
know.
on
You
the
can
courts.
go on Supreme Court, you
And-
can look up, if you have the doc number too, you can see
Yep.
everything that's going on.
So the last filing was earlier, well, I guess it wasn't earlier this week, it might have been late last week, was, you know, there's going to be, I don't know the technical term, so I apologize, but there's going to be a conference amongst the attorneys and the judge in the near future.
so our attorney asked that let's just all go in front of Judge McCluskey, figure out where this is gonna go, and then kind of come back.
In the interest that, you know, we want this over with.
Because
So-
the longer it lasts, the more it costs.
So last year, 2024, it was 57,772.
That's what the town paid?
Yes,
But that's out of date.
Are
that was 2024.
Yeah.
our previous board members responsible for their own legal bills?
No, this is what the town,
I mean,
Those are the town
These-
legal
the
bills.
town's getting sued, right?
Yeah.
yes.
So,
It's also costing other people money too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, lawsuits are incredibly expensive, and we need to do everything we can to prevent them. And the best way to prevent them is to follow the law, you know, as conservatively as possible, right?
It's just,
Yeah.
it depends on what.
when this all happened, somebody told me that $100,000 is gonna get spent. And I'm not saying that we're going to, but when you factor in what the petitioners are spending, I mean, that's just one of the lawyers, right? So
Yeah.
the stuff's
It's just how many
expensive.
people will make out of the tournament. In the end, this is what, yeah.
Law was followed, Dave, just so you know.
I know that. So everything, the best way to prevent lawsuits is to not have any doubt, right? I mean, when you talk about,
Always gonna have somebody,
well, no, I mean,
no, you are, but that's okay.
that's the strategy to prevent lawsuits.
Remember we had Article 78 with the windmills. I mean, there's always.
Yeah, agreed.
There's always been, there's been some in the past too.
The best way to
Not just
prevent
this.
lawsuits is to follow the law as best you can and advertise and be transparent. You're right, there'll be lawsuits,
There's
but
always gonna be somebody, even if you follow the
Great,
law, who's
but-
gonna push the limit.
but if
Yeah, or
if you
think
don't,
didn't do it right or whatever.
just like conflict of interest, right? You don't even want to show any even hint.
Appearance, right?
Yeah, it's appearance too, right? So-
Any other comments?
And we do have old laws that protect employees, elected officials right now currently. It's old and it's outdated, but there is a law to protect people, correct? That's what I've learned.
In a very narrow scope.
Right. So what you will be doing is updating and those old laws, correct?
Yeah, it's gonna go from 1 page to 12 pages.
Yeah, but too, I mean, we elect town board members, we expect that they'll do what's good for the town and the taxpayers and their constituents. And like when, like the Hoovy Island came through, the traffic study, the road wasn't comparable to carry that many people, the sewer system wasn't there. I mean, I think the town board should have like looked at the, a little bit better and said, gee, maybe we should wait, until we get some of this, instead of like putting all those people in that small area. I mean, that's a lot of traffic to put on that road. I mean, we live on that road. I can barely walk up to get my mail sometimes because of those big, RVs going back and forth, I mean, they come down there 45 miles an hour. It's dangerous. I couldn't imagine other people down towards the cut. I mean, cause
But these weren't RVs that they're talking about for Hubby Island. It was nothing to do with
I know,
RVs.
but it's still a lot of traffic.
I know, but it's not RVs.
I know,
Can I
but
get your
there's-
name, please? Can I get your name?
Janice McClellan.
Thank you.
There's a lot of traffic on that road for being just a little macadam narrow pathway.
Correct. But we're in it now, and all we're working to do is get us through and figure out what the next plan would be for the process. I use the phrase, I can't go back in my worlds, and this is really an example where we can't go back. So we're trying to get to the right side of it and then look at things I think personally, and I'll go on I think developing Hubby Island is a really good idea. It's the only place in our community that we have to develop. Whether we need to do it different than we did it before, I think that's absolutely something we can
Well,
look at.
too, and all those houses are gonna be the same in that little community. They never looked into, a planned unit development. That means that they get a tax break. It's like it's townhouse or, co-ops. They get a tremendous tax break. So if the town was looking for a windfall for tax money, it wouldn't have been there.
And we'll certainly use all of that as we look forward. Right now, we just need to process
Well, I
through where
just
we
think
are.
there was a lot of stuff they missed. Maybe it should have not been so many people, maybe it should have been cut back more, I mean, have you ever been to Greenpoint?
I have, many times.
It's a mess.
It is a mess.
It's terrible. All it is cars and people, so many people and so many cars, it's just like a major parking lot with old trailers. I mean, we don't need that.
Well, the fact is, the law was passed, so unless this lawsuit reverses it, that's what's in place right now. So we just need to move forward.
Thank you for your comments. Anything else? Can I have a motion to enter executive session to speak with the attorney?
I'll make the motion.
So we're entering executive session to discuss.
Give a reading.
I do. to discuss the
Pending
defense
legal.
indemnification legal matters with the
Okay.
attorney.
I'll second.
At
David.
6:21.
Yes.
Thank you.
And I'm gonna go to mute, just so everybody knows that.
If you're gonna stick around, you won't I'll make a motion to exit executive session at 6:37.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Yes.
All opposed? Carried. So Matt is going to read the resolution, is that? Yep.
Yeah, I'm just thinking, why don't we pass the override? I don't know if we have to or not.
You're not voting on this.
We're not voting on this.
On the resolution, we are.
Well, that's what I'm saying, we are, all we're doing is the public, what I
No,
understood.
to introduce the law, it'd be a
So we-
resolution.
But we
We
had
have to
that,
do this resolution tonight.
but, Matt, we had that in our email.
Okay, so we don't have to.
Yeah, we've had it for 7 years.
Okay. Whoops. Thanks, I got it back.
Local law number 18 will.
No, sorry, it's not. Wendy, do you know what local law we're up to?
I have no clue.
Could you check?
Sure.
No?
I don't know.
I know, but can you check?
I will, but.
But I think the way this is written is we need to,
Well, actually, you probably don't have any local laws for 2025. Because nothing's been approved by the state. That's what that's the whole
Yeah.
thing with your local laws. So,
do you know what number we're up to?
No, I'll look on the Department of State
Okay.
website. It's gonna take some time.
Well, I don't know how to read that without a law.
All right, well,
yeah.
why don't we do
How
the
many did you
bridge?
send?
Why don't we do the large culvert?
How many did Dave send? How many did Dave give me to send? 6?
Six.
Six.
Yeah.
So 7?
So this is 7.
Okay. Do you know what resolution number we're on?
40. $47.
Thank
Okay.
you.
All right, so I'm gonna make a motion to introduce resolution 47 of 2025, which introduces local law number 7, defense and indemnification. You want me to read it?
That's what he said.
Whereas the town board of the town of Henderson, New York has devoted considerable time and attention to create a local law regarding defense and indemnification of town officers and employees, and whereas the town board previously adopted Chapter 18 of the Town Code and intends to update the code in respect to the defense and indemnification of its officers and employees, and whereas this local law entitled Chapter 18 Defense and Indemnification has been introduced and will be considered for enactment pursuant to the provision of the New York State Municipal Home Rule Law and New York State Town Law, and whereas Volume 6 of the NYCRR Section 617 of the regulations relating to Article 8 of the New York State Environmental Conservation Law requires that as early as possible an involved agency shall make a determination whether given action is subject to the aforementioned law, and whereas no other agency has the legal authority or jurisdiction to approve or directly undertake the enactment of the local law in the town of Henderson, such that there are no other involved agencies within the meaning of the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act with respect to the proposed enactment of said local law, whereas the adoption of said local law is a type 2 action under seeker, thus concluding the environmental review process, and whereas previously public hearing of the aforementioned local law was noticed for May 13th, 2025, and that publication and posting of the notice of public hearing was accomplished per law, and whereas the public hearing was opened, conducted, and closed on May 13th, 2025, and subsequent to said public hearing, the town board determined to revise and amend the proposed local law, which revisions provide better clarification and direction, and whereas the town of Henderson Town Board believes that such revised and amended local law should be considered for further public comment. Now therefore be it resolved by the town board of the town of Henderson, New York as follows. A public hearing shall be held as to the enactment of the proposed local law as now revised and amended at the town offices, 12105 that's actually a typo here, Town Barn Road, Henderson, New York, on June 10th at 6 p.m. An opportunity to be heard in regard thereto will then and there be given to all persons interested in this proposed legislation. Notice of said public hearing shall be provided at least 5 days prior to the date of the said public hearing in a newspaper of general circulation within the town of Henderson, and shall further be posted on the town's signboard and uploaded to the town's website. The foregoing resolution was offered by Matt Owen, and seconded by
Tori Parker Lane.
Tori. Upon a roll call vote of the board was duly adopted as follows.
Roll call.
Karen?
I do, yes.
I do, yes.
I
I
do.
do, yes.
I agree.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Carrie.
Yeah, we're good.
Here,
Okay, so that is done. So now can we
we can
discuss?
set the hearing.
You guys.
We did.
Oh, we already set the hearing in there. It's in there.
Oh, there it is.
It's all done.
Sorry.
That's all done. So now we need to talk about the motion for the Fishing Game Club Bridge.
Before we get to that, so, yeah, so,
Culvert.
Culvert.
so we're gonna post the law on the website
Yeah.
so everybody can see it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Wendy will post it and you
Okay.
will, yep, it can go on Facebook too. I
Okay,
don't know who's doing that, but,
yeah. All right,
okay. Can we, culvert replacement. At the last meeting, we accepted the bid. There was a discussion on where the money would come from. I talked with Donna. It will come out of the highway fund. And the reason for that is the ability to repay it into the highway fund versus if we took it out of other funding that we have available to us. So that answers that question. Donna said it wasn't an issue in moving it. And so I think we,
So are we able to do this just via a motion?
correct.
But I guess before we do that, I just want to state clearly and bluntly that I have reservations on the process up until this point, largely relating to permits. I think some of us have spoken about that, but I'm all in favor of repairing this bridge, and I think it's the right thing to do. But that being said, I want to ensure, to the extent that I can at least, that we get the appropriate permits.
I had the
in
conversations with Corey today. I think you
Yep.
one of you talked to Corey. And I talked with Jim Lawrence at the county highway department. And I also talked to John Condino, who is the engineer that we've used. And they believe, my understanding is the pillars that they're putting in, because it's behind the wall, like the metal that they're doing for the stabilization will not be DEC, but Corey's reaching out to DEC tomorrow.
Okay.
So he'll have a conversation with them. Where we think we may need a DEC permit is when they pour the concrete, whether or not it goes up forward of the high water mark. So.
Yeah, so I mean, when I look at this, at the sketch, it looks like it's all going in the water to me. Maybe I don't understand it or whatever, that's
It's
fine.
going behind the current wall, like they're stabilizing it according, and Jim Lawrence explained it to me better than actually Corey. It's going so that if the first front wall fell, it won't matter because the
Yeah.
bridge is secured.
No, and that, whatever methodology they're using, fine. I just know that it's a regulated stream, it's a trout
Absolutely.
stream, it's all these things, and we should have permits in place before a shovel is anywhere near the site. And
So I
just-
advised Corey to reach out to DEC and to reach out to John if he had additional questions, and then get back to Dave so that we knew before we go. I mean, we're approving the process, we just need to make sure he's following the correct process.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like I said, I'm fine with spending the money on it. But I think between the contractor and the highway superintendent, the permits need to be, or maybe maybe they'll say, oh, you don't need a permit for
Correct,
that.
but he needs to.
But we don't know that. So,
We need documentation stating one way or the other.
exactly.
And he will get that for us. He said he would get a letter.
That's fine.
To forward to us.
I'll touch base with him first thing in the morning.
I asked him, he was partly committed tonight, otherwise he would have been here, but he assured me he would reach out to DEC in the morning.
Okay.
So can I have a motion to accept the bid as presented based on the permits needed to go forward? Can we do that?
I thought we were just moving them. Didn't we do that last?
We didn't because nobody moved it because we didn't know where the money was gonna
Okay.
come from. So we tabled it to this meeting and the contractor needs to order supplies and wants to make sure we're gonna pay for them before he orders them, which will still be contingent on DEC's. I don't think the process.
Well, that's my only concern is that there's nothing contingent. There's no contingencies on permitting here. So I guess, are we taking that risk that it'll be granted?
No, we're making the motion that Corey can't go forward with our approval without a letter from DEC outlining the expectations.
We're gonna approve the bid contingent upon DEC's
I mean, you're
letter.
gonna do it
Okay.
whether or not they have to get DEC permit before they do it, or they could do it without, like DEC says, but he's gonna get a process.
So we're gonna approve this, contract, contingent upon DEC approval.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
So in theory, we should have to do that, right? I agree with it, but I'm just saying, by process, we approve the money, we approve the contract,
The money before you can even start going
Yeah.
after any permits or anything.
right, and then,
It's part of the project.
right, and then it just flows from there, right?
Right,
It was a good follow-up, good question, no doubt, but ideally, that's Corey's job and the contractor. There might be more than that, right? There might be more than DEC, there could be all kinds of permits.
Well,
We're not
right-
getting into that, right? We're just saying, we approve the money, you follow the process to construct this property.
I think I disagree with that, because if in fact, I would much rather Corey made the presentation for the bridge with the DEC, with the approval, and with the outline of the project, rather than, it's not, if it was anywhere other than that trout stream, it wouldn't be an issue, but,
It would, I mean,
Well, any
there's
other
all
stream.
kinds of requirements out
Yes.
there that
But so
we're
we're
not
gonna,
getting involved in.
we're gonna authorize
I'm
80 something thousand dollars
82.
for this. What happens if we don't get a permit?
Then we don't spend it.
We don't
Yeah,
Right.
it's contingent. It's
Fair
all
enough.
contingent.
Yeah.
Okay, fair
It's
enough.
contingent on the letter and the correct operating process, and he can
Okay.
reach out to John, he can reach out to the DEC, he can reach out to Jim Lawrence.
Okay.
He just needs to give something back to us that says he's okay before we release
Okay.
the dollars.
Okay.
Do I have a motion to move that?
Yes, I'll make the
As long
motion,
as the contingency's on there, yes.
We have the contingent. Wendy has that.
I'll second.
All in favor?
yes.
Carried. Okay, is there anything else to come before the board tonight?
Maybe more public
Can
comment?
I have any more public comments?
That was that RDI construction, right?
Yes. Okay. Yep. Any other comments? Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make the motion.
I'll
Second?
second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you for your help,
reading
guys.
that.